Hey lovely sexy people. Right, so Wargames Illustrated Issue 44, April 2023. Let's get into this, shall we? We'll have a look at the plastic at the end. Get rid of that. See ya. Okay, Pike and shot. Again, some lovely artwork on the front. Let's see what it says. Our cover artwork this month is by Peter Dennis and features on the Push of Pike box set by Warlord Games. It is used with kind permission of Warlord Games. So it doesn't actually say what it's supposed to be depicting, but I'm assuming if it's Push of Pike, that sounds like it might be English Civil War type stuff again. Right, subscriptions. Pike and shot, epic battles. So this is just saying to refight the wars that raged across Europe in the 17th century in epic scale. So this is the same scale of that they've recently released the Waterloo stuff in. And obviously we've had freebies from who's doing it? Warlord Games. We've had these as freebies from Warlord Games already. Well, not these, but we've had the Napoleonics. So yeah, we got 2 cannon here. So that's cool. Right, said Fred. Let's have a look. Observation post. Rules, supplements, figures, terrain, hobby gear and more. I'm instantly drawn to these. Look at these. Fenris Games, Weird World Recreated. These are cool. Different animals. Right, here we go. Okay, so Robin from the Rich. If it wasn't for Alan Rickman's wonderfully over-the-top Sheriff of Nottingham performance, Prince of Thieves would be tossed into the same never-to-be-opened box as Ridley Scott's 2010 Robin Hood. True connoisseurs of the myth know that TV shows Maid Marian and Her Merry Men and Robin of Sherwood are the more modern pillars of the story. It's the latter show. So these look like Robin Hood miniatures here. But then, into the past and the present and the future, the other figures continue to explore different shows and films from the past decades. Moonbase Crew, which are these guys, clearly based on Space 1999. Well, Immortal Evil and Beastmen Kids will excite fans of the 1985 show Thundercats. More suited to real-world gaming but still connected to TV are market traders and private investigators. So these guys here, they're Delboy and Rodney. Just and they're just marketed as market traders. That's fantastic. Right, anyhow. Anschluss Publishing, Forgotten Battles, Operation Barbarossa, which was obviously Germany's advance into Russia. And that's that there. Right, Release Radar. What do we got? Let's have a look. I'm liking these buildings. These look like 28mm. Yeah. The final buildings for this section come from Oshuri Terrain, oshurimodels.wixsite.com. And are maybe the most interesting as they are building facades rather than full structures. They denote either a Victorian terrace or factory terrace and come in 28mm primed resin. We've got Ancient Indians here. And that's from the continent of India rather than Native Americans. Upping the size to HO scale are some releases from Metcalf Models, metcalfmodels.com, a water wheel, modern train station platform and hotel. So that's these. So HO scale is around about sort of like 187, 176, 172 scale ish. Building Bonanza. And these guys look like Wargame forged via Mighty Minis UK. Mighty-minis-uk.com have a new range of 6mm hex-shaped constructs that would be perfect for Battletech Epic. So there you go. We have some Ancients Chariots by the look of it. Postal Pilots and Explorers. Horse Team and Limber with Field Gun. That looks like World War One. Then we have some modern warfare vehicles here. I'm recognising that looks like Abrams. That could very well be German Leopard. This looks like a T90 or something. The M777 155 howitzer there. Oh no, hang on. The MN651 K9 Thunder SPH self-propelled howitzer. That's this. Number 2 is the K2 Black Panther. So is that? I think that's a Korean tank, Black Panther. And this is all 3mm. A lot of new 3mm codes it's saying here. So that's interesting. So that would give you a really epic scale to fight large scale battles on. Right, we then come into Quickfire. Right, 2 Adriatic harbours for the price of 1. So this looks good. This looks like it's the same board, but used for 2 different eras. So this looks like a Napoleonics potentially and a World War II. Right, changeable bases. That's interesting. They've magnetised the horses on these bases so that they can change out for Arctic tundra or just grasslands. Right, what scale are these? In Praise of Tiny Gettysburg. 10mm ACW buildings. Nice, they're nice. Looking at the detail on these prints, they look really nice. Okay, first call, Pulp Fictions. Cover mount, Pike and Shot, epic battles. So this is obviously a focus on the plastic frame that we got, the plastic sprue. So it's looking good. Although this one, we get an awful lot of cavalry on this one. I mean, obviously you're going to have pikes and musketeers. We've got some musketeers here, but no pikemen, no ranks of pikemen like we have here. Game Changers with 4 wise men. We sit down for a few pints, some grub and some Game Changers chatter with a quadrant of Wargaming Wise Men for this month's theme introduction. So this looks like an interview. Our 4 wise men are John Stallard, CEO of Warlord Games, Pete Brown, Wargames Illustrated most frequent article contributor, Rick Priestley, author of Warhammer, Black Powder, Hail, Caesar and More, and Andy Callan, Mr. Bill Hooks and Wargames Illustrated Issue 1 contributor. So quite a lengthy interview there. And they got a picture of Henry Cavill at Warhammer World. Fun in the Sun, The Baron's War. Outremer, I'm assuming that says. Or Outremer. Outremer. We take a look through this exciting new expansion book, discuss new armies, rules and figures available, and suggest some exciting Crusader States historical battles you can play at skirmish level. So this is Crusader stuff. So yeah, just talking about scenario 1124 when Sally met Havadik. That's nice. The unforeseen consequences of hardship. Hattin 1187, the poor bloody infantry. Some great looking miniatures though. Pike and Shot, epic battles. What's it all about? So this is your introduction to the Pike and Shot game by the look of it. Right, Pike and Shot is the third of Warlord's epic series. They began with the American Civil War, Gettysburg, moved on to Napoleonic's Waterloo, and now it's the turn of Pike and Shot to go through the shrinking machine and come out the other side at around 13.5mm high. So yeah, there's your introduction to it and what it's about. Muskets and Tomahawks to Fallen Timbers. We showcase the paint jobs Matt Parks applied to the North Star's new Native American warriors for muskets and tomahawks and suggest some tabletop battles to use them in. Piece of artwork here, The Death of General Wolfe by Benjamin West. So these all look great. Loving the look of these warriors here. So, Battle of Sandusky, 4 June 1782. The Siege of Fort William Henry, 3 to 9th of August 1757. Those are about the only 2 major battles that they seem to suggest. Offensive. All metal, true 28mm scale figures. New Waffen SS command figures here. Assault Pioneers and Sniper Spotter Group. New British Paras, Bren Team Snipers, Engineered DZ Resupply. They all look really nice actually. Steel Chariots in the Desert. So this is World War I by the look of it. Robert Giglio presents armoured cars and light patrol cars as a World War I game changer in the desert. So a lot of them were based on Rolls Royces. And yeah, just looking at the really quirky, like, gun trucks and stuff like that. Empress Miniatures Ford Model T, and like it's just got the driver, and then a guy sat in the front with a Maxim machine gun by the look of it. There's a whole bevy of gun trucks here. So yeah, and obviously LRDG Bantam Jeeps hit an Axis supply dump, 15mm miniatures and terrain from Battlefront Flames of War range. So these are obviously World War II, but they took a lot of their kind of inspiration from those Desert Raiders in World War One. Behind German Lines, Soviet Partisan Warfare, 1941 to 44. If you haven't seen the film, I think it's called Resistance with, oh crap, what's his name? James Bond himself. Do you know, I can't remember it off the top of my head. It's completely gone. But yeah, that's a really good film. Just shows you some of the things that the partisans got up to, etc. Some great pictures here of like partisans in Russia. And then some miniatures. Warlord Games Soviet People's Militia Squad. Black Tree Partisan Tank Bombers. Yeah, cool. And then Landesschützen Battalion 960. Just some information on obviously the Germans. So yeah, quite a big article covering that. So that's pretty cool. Right, multiplaying bill. Let's try again, shall we? Multiplayer bill hooking. About this time last year, Giles Shapley, also known as Eric the Shed, shared with us his journey through several multiplayer tabletop refights of the Battles of the Wars of the Roses. For this Game Changers article, Giles tells us how he tweaked the never mind the bill hooks rules to allow for more players, more figures, and ultimately bigger battles in those games. So there you go. That's that. Oh, they've got a weather D6 weather chart. Maybe roll 1d6 and consult the weather chart. So cool. Valor and Fortitude. Scenarios for Valor and Fortitude. Campaign scenario: the War of Liberation, 1813. So is this? I think this is following on from last month. Yeah. So this article is following on from the previous month's marches. Campaign. Hell on Hooves. Colonel, retired, Bill Gray, delves into the history and tactics of Polish winged hussars and discovers that we might need to change our gaming to better represent them in tabletop battles. So these guys have got like, you know, like the Japanese would have the banners stuck to the back of them. These guys have got like curved horse feather plumes coming up their back, which is pretty cool. You see them here. It looks like they're shaped so that they look like wings, maybe. So that's quite unique and would make a really fun modelling challenge, you know, if it's not something that you're used to doing. And there you go, we're into the adverts here, and that's it. And there you go. Right, come and have a look. Come down and we'll have a look at... Here we go. Have a look at the plastic. So these look great. I mean, it is, what, 13mm Wargames. Now, these say they've got a sculpt date of 2022 on them. But when you look, you've got obviously the guys. Now, traditional sort of like English Civil War, this is what I think of when I think of muskets. I think of them resting the musket barrel on the monopod here. So you can see those. But we've got quite a light cannon here. And obviously a couple of guys manning. And then we have a heavier cannon with a slightly bigger crew. So these two here look like they're part of the crew. And obviously we've got the guy with the, effectively the squeegee here. So once the cannon had fired, he'd squeegee out the barrel to remove any detritus that might have been left in there. And then obviously they would load up the gunpowder, the whatever type of round you were using, whether it be shot or something else, and then obviously a wedge to keep it all in place, and kind of make a bung, because what you didn't want was you igniting the gunpowder and the gunpowder all just blows out around the cannonball, because it wouldn't go very far. So what they would do is obviously wedge it in there. I don't know if they would put kind of like a bung on top of the powder and then the cannonball, and then something else. But yeah, looks like crew members are there. We've got a guy with a bucket as well, and this looks like the guy with the touch fuse that he would obviously touch to the cannon where the powder was poured into to go down into the powder that was in the barrel. And then we've got these great looking cavalry guys. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 16, 17 cavalry chaps. And I mean, they're only small. What did they say, about 13.5mm? But they're still quite detailed. They are still quite detailed, and they're nicely done. So yeah, got a guy here with a musket, two guys there with a musket. This guy, don't know if that's a lance or whether that's supposed to be a pole for a colours, regimental colours. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at these, there's not a lot of flash on it. It looks really nice as a sculpt. I mean, the horses look more like ponies, but you know, ponies, take it from somebody that's had a horse and that shared a field with a little shit of a pony. Ponies are kind of like the chavs of the horse world, that's for sure. Don't know what this bit is. It's just a bit on its own there. That's a bugle by the look of it, so that's interesting. Yeah, cool. So there you go, that's the plastic. It looks good, and yeah, I mean, you get a couple of cannon. So obviously when you get your box set, there's going to be multiples of this. So you should be able to field quite a few different units. But yeah, I like this one. I'm sure this one does look, the way that he's resting this does look like it's a flagpole for mounting colours onto, for those that want to. Right, there you go. That was Wargames Illustrated issue 44. Hopefully you join me in the next video. All right, take care. Bye-bye.